Here are the weekly payrolls for 2 imaginary restaurants, Moose Burgers, and McTofu. So we need to find the 5 number summaries of the salaries for them. And what we do, we go to Stats, Edit, and then you could just put the information on the list, but separated. So to find the 5 number summaries, you go to Stat, Calc, var stat, and then you put in L1 first. Then you scroll down, and to get the minimum, it's 110. Then quartile 1 is 123.
You want to be on 2 when you're on 3?
Yeah.
And then for McTofu, you just do the same thing, except you put in list 2. Okay, so number 2 says create parallel box plots. Is just go off by the 5 number summaries. So the minimum I'm going to use is McTofu, and then the highest number I'm going to put on the number line is 400. Okay, so the first one we're going to plot is the Moose Burgers. So the minimum is 110. And the maximum is 160. Quartile 1 is 123. Okay, so to check for outliers for Moose Burgers, what you have to do is you find the IQR, which is 21, and then to find lower outliers, you do Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR, and we got 91, and no data is lower than 91, so there's no outliers for the lower half. And for upper outliers, you do Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, which is 175, and there are no outliers on the upper half. So then we could do McTofu, which is the minimum is 100, the max is 360. Oh wait, that's an outlier. Okay, for McTofu, we did find an outlier, an upper outlier, because we did Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, and we got 165, which should be the highest in order to not get an outlier. And our outlier, our maximum for McTofu is 360, so that would be an outlier. And so the quartile 1 for McTofu is 110. Then the median is 120. And for the end part, we're going to put 165 because that's what we calculated.
Here's. And just throw it there.
We're not applying until we're there.
What we have to do is write a few sentences comparing the distributions, and what we could use, which is what Mr. Campbell taught us, is cuss and BS, but for both of them. So the center for Moose Burgers is, we can use the median, which is 133.5. And the center for McTofu the next part is unique features, which is the outlier for McTofu. Then the shape is, they're both pretty symmetric except for the fact that McTofu has a really high outlier. Then we could talk about the spread. which McTofu has a larger range, and Moose Burger has a range of 50. And then we could talk about the distributions as a whole, which is the salaries are pretty similar. Except for the fact of the outlier. Which restaurant pays a higher average salary? Since it's average, we're going to use the mean, and that would be McTofu. Then why is the mean salary misleading? It's misleading because it's pulled by the high outlier. And you can say that it's Sally's salary is higher than the typical worker. Last question, at which restaurant would you rather work? Give a sound statistical justification for a decision. So even though McTofu has a higher mean salary, compared to Moose Burger, I would rather work at Moose Burger because the typical salary is higher.